yeah, you're so good. Like, you're going to get a job right away. He's like, everyone would be lucky to have you. And looking back, I'm thankful that he instilled that in me, but also, like, it was wrong. Like, he was wrong.
Hello and welcome to Did I Do That? It's a podcast about graphic designers making mistakes, because when it comes to making just about anything, it's all part of the process. I'm Sean Schumacher, and joining me today, a very special guest. She's an illustrator with a cross-equatorial practice who's done work for the likes of The Globe and Mail, Figma, Reader's Digest Canada, and Shondaland, among many others. Her work can be found on greeting cards, skateboards, and even, of all places, on the side of an air monitoring shed in a small town in Alberta. These days, her work melds with motion. As a senior designer at Oddfellows here in Portland, it's Mariah Barnaby-Norris. Hi!
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It is so good to have you here. Here at just about the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
A fact that I know because I am being told night and day by every app that can give me notifications that their Black Friday sales are on now. But the other thing that happens here at the end of the year is it's a time when everyone in design media is thinking about trend pieces. I'm sure you've seen tons of trend pieces already starting to come out.
Yes.
Who doesn't love to be trendy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I feel like I actually haven't, sometimes try not to pay attention to them because I get kind of caught up in them and almost like, oh, am I doing this? Or should I be doing this?
Yeah, there's a weird sort of self-fulfilling prophecy nature to a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's because those pieces are popular with audiences, which is to say designers, mostly desperate ones. I know because I was once one of them. Now, longtime listeners of this show will know that I have never done a trend piece because I don't know how to make popular things. And I'm also just deeply out of touch with what is happening, just sort of like generally.
Mm-hmm.
In a weird way, it's kind of like in that one episode of Doug where everyone starts dressing like Doug because it had, unbeknownst to Doug, become trendy to look like a 40-year-old, 14-year-old. A trend that we later ended up deciding to call normcore, which fascinating. I love that the Doug prophecy was fulfilled. So basically, a stopwatch is right twice a day, I think is the lesson of that.
Yes.
And I am nothing if not a stopwatch / Doug from Nickelodeon's Doug, not Disney's Doug.
How many times can we say Doug? Yeah.
Really, there's a certain very small percentage of the listeners who are so excited that Doug is getting mentioned.
Yes.
Because I don't think anyone has thought about Doug in fully 25 years.
No.
So anyway, I was in LA recently, and when I was there, I spent a great deal of time in their main public library, which was the coolest place I could think to go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, totally right. 100%. Really great library. What I liked most about it, though, is that it is full of years out-of-date specialty and trade magazines.
Okay.
So many that I had never seen before, and they are my favorite things in the entire world.
Interesting.
Are you familiar with kind of the specialty trade magazine world?
No.
So basically, any niche interest or industry that you can think of probably has at least one, but probably 4 to 6 weird magazines, some of which are hyper overproduced, some of which are completely underproduced.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite all time, when I worked a job that I think would arguably be adjacent to the meeting industry, we were just sort of mailed Smart Meetings magazine.
Okay.
And the cover of the very first Smart Meetings magazine that I noticed had a picture of Bono, just looking the most sad I would say a celebrity has ever looked. Bono had been trapped by Smart Meetings magazine in a box, imprisoned.
So random.
There is ostensibly an interview with Bono in there. That's not the part that I even found interesting. They had an article on my hometown, though, in that magazine that just read, Las Vegas, it's an interesting place. And that's their sell. That's how they're getting.
That's it.
It's just like there is such a irrationality to how those magazines work that I'm continually delighted by, because there's no sell, there's no like nothing desirable to the general public.
They're not trying too hard.
Exactly.
I love that.
We are just trying to corner Bono and take a sad photo of him and then talk about Las Vegas, a place that I guess you could have meetings.
You know, interesting enough, Las Vegas was the first place that I'd ever been to in the U.S.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I was 16.
That's a bad start, I will say.
I know. I feel like
it gave you a great perception of what the States are like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it did. But before I moved to Portland from Australia, I feel like I had only ever been to Las Vegas as a 16-year-old. So I was like, this is America.
That's not a good age to go either, because there's nothing you can do.
No, it was kind of like in between. I was going to Lake Havasu.
Wow.
For spring break with my friend.
Wow.
Because her uncle and auntie lived there. And I was not like a rebellious teenager by any means. And so spring break in Lake Havasu was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is, what year about is this? This
like
is like
2010.
Okay, so that's kind of the tail end of the MTV spring break era,
insane.
too.
It was the most insane place I'd ever been. And I was like, this is America. And so like moving to Portland, I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And then no. Portland was much more chill, luckily.
Far fewer jet skis, I would say.
Yeah, just a few of them.
Just only about one jet ski per capita instead of like 30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was I disappointed? I don't know. No, I was not.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But anyway, so like I came across all these magazines and I've been thinking about them ever since. This trip was like a month ago. And I feel like there's enough in these magazines that like they're just destined to become trends in 2026. So I want to ask, do you want to look through some and decide what's in and what's out for 2026?
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Well, I think there's a bunch of stuff in this first one that could really pop. This is Equestrian Trails Incorporated, the official publication of Equestrian Trails Incorporated. That's right. The corporation name is twice in the title of the magazine.
Oh God, that's amazing. I think in.
I agree. This is definitely in. And I think there's a lot of elements in it that are worth bringing in to 2026 kind of styles.
Yes.
Chaotic fonts, chaotic sticker application, and just like really upfront desperation. For one, like I was bringing up the incredible like Las Vegas, it's an interesting place non-sell for the magazine. The top headline on the cover of Equestrian Trails Incorporated, wise words from Gene. Number 2.
Oh, have you subscribed yet? Yeah, question mark. Okay.
That is the number 2 thing that is selling this magazine.
Yes.
Below wise words from Gene.
Okay, I kind of love this little horse illustration in the bottom corner, though. That caught my eye.
I also love that it is truly, an anti-minimalist cover in the biggest way. Like, they have little fussy bits all over.
Someone had a good time designing this.
A ton of good times. Weird little horseshoes. Whatever this sort of, like, seal is that they have.
Yes.
I even... want to throw out like positivity corner. I think that's a great thing. Yeah. Let's bring that into 2026.
Maybe we need that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to carry forward from Equestrian Trails Incorporated, the official publication of Equestrian Trails Incorporated.
I love that you found these.
We've got another one. This is, of course, Folk Dance Scene.
Wow.
This is, I would say, the lowest print quality one of them.
These are amazing, though.
They're all astonishing. I would have spent hours looking at each of them if I'd had the time.
Also very much in. I have a feeling all of these are coming into the trend of 2026.
100%. My favorite thing, and I don't know if this is yours about that one, but the sort of row of clip art characters at the very top.
Yes.
And like not modern clip art. This is really like, I was trying to think like, it's the opposite of corporate Memphis. It's amateur Kinkos.
Yes, which I love.
It's really like
They got personality.
These are little dancer characters that came free with Claris Works in 1997. We have very old photo, poorly photocopied.
Yeah.
Just dead center in the frame.
Badass. They look badass.
They look like they would fuck you up for sure.
Like through dance. Like somehow through folk dance.
100%. 100%.
A dance battle.
I mean, they're the Folk Dance Federation. So,
God, that sounds intimidating.
It sounds like they have like a whole, maybe army that could come after us.
Wow. A beautiful army.
Truly a beautiful army.
Yeah.
I think there's a running theme through all of these, and that is Cooper Black.
Yes.
Cooper Black, the most available typeface if you are making a small magazine like this.
It works.
Yeah. So a lot to carry forward there. Next up, we have Banjo Newsletter, the 5-string magazine.
Wow. This portrait of this man looks very serious. Again, love the illustration, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a theme here with me.
Well, you are an illustrator, so you're going to gravitate towards that. But that illustration, do you want to describe that illustration? Because I think there's a lot to love
There's
there.
a bald man with a large mustache holding a banjo.
Yeah.
Huge head.
Huge head.
I love when the proportions aren't right. Like, why does it have to be realistic? It doesn't have to be. The neck is like stretching out of his body. No, I love it. I feel like the man could, I don't know. The photograph of the man, he looks a little bit scary.
Yeah, he's
When you think of a banjo, you don't think of a portrait like that.
No, he's trying to be Banjo's bad
Cool
boy.
guy.
This is Chris Pandolfi.
Okay. I'm sorry, Chris. but-
Sorry, Chris. But yeah, you are definitely giving like Banjo bad boy energy. And also, what a rude thing to do to put a guitar in the background of your Banjo magazine cover.
Odd choice.
What are you doing, Chris?
I'm
Clean out your studio.
I'm gonna say out, maybe out.
So yeah, I think Chris's energy
Out.
Old man who
In.
almost feels like a caricature of the idea of banjoing that banjo players would find offensive.
Yeah.
In. Also that typeface the Banjo newsletter is set in, which is I can't even describe it. It's serif, but with flourishes.
I mean, like a little bit of a live, laugh, love energy.
Yeah, it's adjacent to that.
Yeah.
Like that and Times New Roman,
Yes.
got in the Fly machine from The Fly and
Yes.
got squished together.
Yeah.
Don't
love it, don't hate it,
No, it's right on the borderline, which might explain why this newsletter has not been published since August 2021.
Okay, yes.
Chris, what did you do? What did you do? You broke it. Next up, we have Folk Art Messenger.
Wow.
Folk Art Messenger. I've spent a long time looking at that one. I'm pretty sure that's... It does say Beyonce, and I guess that is a rendering of Beyonce, but...
A bit of a scary one.
Yeah.
In this illustration.
I think I might know why, though, because I think it is a wood carving.
Okay.
Which is really
kind
all
of
the more art.
Kind of impressive. Oh, there's like a pretty border around it.
There is a pretty border. This is also a very maximalist cover.
Yes.
There is stuff on every surface.
Someone I feel like I respect that they're trying new things with these,
100%.
I think you can get, one of the things I was going to talk about today, I feel like, is that you can get caught up in finding something that works and just continuing with it, or you can try new things. And these people, to give them credit, are trying new things.
They are trying so many new things.
Yeah.
They're trying compositions that don't make sense
don't
or
work. Yeah.
So in this photo, there is a man holding his carved Beyonce portrait.
Oh my God, I didn't realize he was holding it. I thought that was just like a collage.
It's a
man popping out of Beyonce. Is he wearing a fedora?
He sure is wearing a fedora.
Oh,
I like he's emerging from Beyonce like Athena from Zeus's forehead.
Respect to him for that.
But yeah, I love the amount of work that someone went to just, crop around his hat and his hand. The only elements that overlap the frame, but don't do so to a degree that you would at all notice if they didn't.
No. It's like not noticeable enough, which I respect that.
Yeah. So very subtle touches that don't quite make sense, I think is a great trend for 2026.
Yes. Stop making sense. That's what I want to see.
Get rid of it. I mean,
who needs it?
The Talking Heads told us to do it 35 years ago, and we're still, not moving on that.
We're making too much sense.
Let's see. I think we want to skip right to pro rodeo sports news.
Okay.
This is
okay.
I will say I don't know if you knew this, but I am a member of a rodeo lineage.
Yes, I did not know that.
Rodeo clown was my grandfather.
Okay.
And so I've seen a lot of rodeo magazines in my time. They all have pretty abysmal photography.
Yeah.
You cannot see what is going on in the photo on the cover of this magazine.
No, it's like a blur. There's a big American flag, which, I don't know if it needs it. I mean, sorry, America. I'm not American, so maybe that's why I don't think it needs it. Throw a Canadian flag in there.
Yeah, why not?
Or Australian. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of rodeos in Canada, too, including around the area that you grew up.
Yes, I have Calgary stampeded before.
Yeah, as did he.
Yeah, okay, that's really cool. I feel like this is I think it's out. It's a bit boring.
Yeah, so I think unfocused composition where there's just sort of a man sitting on a horse with a American flag that is bigger than the horse attached.
We don't need that.
Yeah, and that is all that we have.
Okay.
I think we came up with some very good trends, though, for 2026.
I agree. Make less sense, I think. It's the theme. The theme is make less sense, people.
Make less sense,
Yes.
invest a lot of effort into places that don't make,
Yes.
really any improvement to the
Yes.
composition.
Yes.
And also clip art from Claris Works
Yeah.
circa 1997.
Folk art.
100%.
Folk dancers, specifically.
Yeah, actually, fire your graphic designers. Bring in some folk dancers.
Yes. It'll
Why not?
bring the energy. Yeah.
Maybe don't fire your graphic
Don't
designer.
fire them.
Make them learn to do
Folk
folk dancing.
Yes,
and
that's
then that's the solution.
Yep.
So yeah, we solved it. 2026 trends.
We did. That's all.
Enjoy the trends.
Yes.
But Mariah, you didn't come here to talk about these weird magazines and
No,
fake trends.
This is nothing. I did not expect this. Just gonna put it out there. This
It
is
would
unexpected.
be shocking if you did.
Yes.
You came here to talk about kind of your journey into design, and I know we kind of touched on this already. You grew up in a very small town in Canada, Hinton, I believe, and it was not really a place where there was a lot of kind of design energy happening.
No, not at all.
So how did you what were the things that you were encountering when you were a kid that were creative?
Yeah, I was born. Let's just get right to it. The history of Mariah. I was born on Vancouver Island in Canada in a little town called Comox. And I feel like I remember my dad is a very talented, I wouldn't say illustrator. Maybe. I don't know. He draws.
A drawer.
He draws with pencil. He does pencil sketches of these magical, fantastical lands with mushrooms and dragons and fairies and castles.
Oh, sure.
He'd do these kind of large-ish scale, beautifully detailed drawings. He's so talented. And so I feel like that was maybe my first inspiration as a child, seeing those and being kind of fascinated by his talent and wanting to be the same. My first drawings were not like that at all. I feel like I draw these fairies with disproportionate heads and
sort of the Banjo Man as a fairy.
The Banjo Man, yes, that looks familiar. I'd say he was my first inspiration, and then I've always just been interested in drawing, and I think maybe subconsciously design as well. But I didn't know anything about graphic design until I think probably until I went to university.
Oh, yes. So University Alberta is where you end up going to school.
In Edmonton, Alberta.
In Edmonton.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a big city, but it's also kind of in the middle of not a lot of other things.
Yeah, for sure. If you ask anybody else, I think, who has only visited Edmonton, they'd be like, why did you live in Edmonton, Alberta? And I think it's this underrated place. I was lucky enough to be kind of in the best part of town, I think. Maybe a biased opinion. But at the university, it's a beautiful university. There's a river valley. In the winter, it is kind of barren and freezing cold, yes. But it has beautiful summers. And yeah, the art community there and the design community is just so supportive. And I think maybe because it's kind of this barren place, people have to kind of create this cozy community and support each other through that, and
that makes a lot of sense though, because I know I've likened this to the situation in Vegas too, where there's maybe not a lot of other community, and so there is a very tight-knit arts community there that really cares about and uplifts work, which is a great place to find yourself as a university student. So you were taking philosophy classes, drawing classes, Italian classes?
I am terrible at learning languages. And I'm pretty sure my professor just let me pass out of pity. Because anyone can say ciao. But anything else, I just struggled so hard. When you do the Bachelor of Arts and you're just exploring what's out there. You know, I was just like a tiny little fish in this huge ocean of, I was overwhelmed with what to take. So I was okay, I have to take a language credit. I'll take Italian. This is when I was just in the Bachelor of Arts program. And same with philosophy. I was sure, I'll take philosophy. I don't know. Small town living. I don't know anything.
Yeah, you're just plugging things in to be
plugging classes in.
Yeah, maybe something will stick, and then I'll have a more specific degree.
Exactly. And you take a fundamentals of arts classes and fundamentals of design. And in that class, I met my best friend, Erin Nagy.
Oh, sure.
Who knew what she was doing. And so, you got to latch on to those ones. But it was a slow latch. When you're in school and there's options to come in at night and work on it, but you have to bring a friend. That was the thing.
100%.
So, okay, you can come work after hours, but you have to bring a friend for safety.
Yeah.
So we'd be hi, are you going in tonight? Do you want to go in together? But we didn't talk to each other other than that. We sat across the room.
Wow. So really, truly a slow,
Yes. Slow burn.
almost relationship of like, we have to,
Yes.
if we want to get into this building, we've got to,
work together. So
Sounds like a heist, but
yeah, a little bit, but in like the most innocent way. We're drawing. Yeah. A heist of drawing together.
That's why Ocean's 14 never happened. They were just drawing.
Yeah, they were just sketching together.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and then eventually we became friends. We like did some partner projects, and we just got along so well. And I kind of learned what she was doing, and she was trying to get into the Bachelor of Design program, which you had to kind of make a portfolio for. So I was very interested in all of this. It just sounded like really cool, really interesting. And I think, that design fundamentals class, you learn like composition and color theory and white space and layout and all that stuff. And I just loved it all. Like I loved everything about it.
Did it feel like it was unlocking something from like your childhood, like watching your dad draw? And
yes. And applying those thoughts to like a more kind of structured project. And so, I feel like I knew that I liked drawing, but maybe something in my brain, I didn't know what illustration was, and I wouldn't for a few years. And so I was trying to kind of merge what I knew and what I loved into like what's something that I think I could be good at. And so I think I saw design as that thing. I was like, okay, this is creative. I can use these skills that I know that I love in this way.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, this seems right. So I was like, I'll do the same thing. I will follow Erin Nagy. And I applied for the design program and didn't get in the first round.
Ooh.
I know. Tragic. It was actually very sad.
Did Erin get in?
She did get in.
Ooh.
I forget if she got in the first time or if she got in the second time. But, it's humbling.
It is.
You kind of have to go through that.
In a way, I mean, occasionally I will see this with students.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when it happens and they, try again, you come into it much stronger and much more driven the second time.
Yes.
Because you realize, oh, this is something that, I have to try really hard to get.
For sure. I worked hard on it and got in, and I was very excited. It was like this magical part of campus in the Fine Arts building through these like magical design doors, and you walked in. I don't know. I feel like I romanticized it all so much, and I'd see like the cool professors and the cool older students, and I was like, wow, I want to be that. And seeing their projects was so inspiring, and it just seemed like something that I was excited about, and so I just kind of going for it.
Yeah. What did you do in that year to kind of, or was it a year, or how long did you have
before I got in?
Yeah, before you had to apply
it was actually
again?
2 years, I think, because I applied. So my first year was kind of like, the mess of Italian and philosophy.
Miscellaneous.
So yeah, in that year leading up to it, I just like took that art fundamentals class and that design fundamentals class and pretty much used the work that I made in those classes to apply, which wasn't enough. It was like kind of had to be more. And so I think the next year when I had the kind of more classes and more ideas of, what my skills were and used those more towards building my portfolio up, then after the second year of working hard at it, I finally got in.
But then you're in.
Then I was in. Yeah. It was a great program. I feel like I was saying before, PSU's program here in Portland looks amazing. And there's slight parts of me that are jealous about the program here. It just seems like maybe a bit more suited towards what I like. But there are parts of that program that I have no regrets about. It was very theory-based, like a lot of research, a lot of like, why are you doing this? The professors like really cared about design and the impact you could have.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like more an art school approach than you would expect from a, big like research university.
Yeah, the university is huge. I don't know if I noted that, but the arts section of that university was like a tiny part of it. I think it was known for like the more sciencey, nerdy. Well, yeah, we're nerds too, but
Yeah, we're cool nerds.
We're cool nerds. They're science nerds.
We have pocket protectors because we have loose ink in them.
Yeah.
They just have leaky pens.
Yeah. So it did feel like this little pocket, and they were doing a really good job. And I admire and love my professors that I had there, and they cared so much. And I feel like it made me have this appreciation for design that maybe if I did more of I don't know. I feel like they didn't really teach us. They taught us the why, and then they're like, okay, go on, like do your project with the research and the why. It was less about learning the tools, more about why are you doing this project?
Sure.
And who's this going to impact? And which feels like something maybe that people put less priority on sometimes.
It is a very important thing that is often under considered.
Yeah.
But it's also good to maybe do a little
Of
both.
Yes. Oh my
We don't have to
God.
have two extremes,
I remember one of my projects I like hand painted because the tools were there on the computers, like, the Creative Suite and all that stuff. But it was kind of like, okay, they're there, like, go learn, go on. And so, and I was like,
Shoot, get out of
oh
here.
God, like, how do you use these things? And they taught us some basics, but I remember like hand painting these textures and like scanning them in and cutting them out. And like, I don't know, it was just like so intense. And then my project was final and it looked great. And then like a week later, my friend like pulled me to the side and she's like, like you could have just used like a Photoshop brush. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And like, why hasn't anybody told me that? And I feel like these mistakes and these ways you do a project before maybe the quicker way, they look great and maybe they have more personality.
I was gonna say that sounds like it's a real upgrade on
maybe
nasty
but,
Photoshop brush texture.
Previous me staying up, late hours of the night working on this hand painted, hand cut out thing. You're right. Maybe it does have more to it than it would have if I did like a digital brush.
But at that like time too, and you're like the idea that you could have been using that time for something else, like watching TV or something. It's hard not to shake.
Yeah, doing my dishes.
Yeah.
So, there are some lessons learned for sure, but no, I loved the program and I loved the people I met and it was very, very special.
Do you remember any of your other kind of projects from that time?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I mainly remember like just the amount of like cutting, using the X-Acto knife and cutting things out. I cut myself really badly once, actually.
As a part of the process.
God,
very necessary.
It was awful.
If you don't have scars on both of your hands,
who are you? You're not working hard enough.
They can't give you the degree.
No.
You need to show
there needs to be blood, sweat, and tears on the project. I made this. We had to do this like project based on. There's a lot of like music projects, which actually I kind of miss. I kind of wish that I was doing more projects that had to do with music. I love music, and so. We had to make a zine based on one of our favorite artists, and I did it based on Tegan and Sarah.
Oh, sure. Ironically, also came up in our last episode with Ryan Swedenborg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously a big part of all of our, But I like hand drew, now looking back, I like hand drew all these like sketchy kind of like portraits of them. And it was before I even knew what illustration was. And now looking back, I feel like I worked illustration into like almost all my projects if I could.
Oh, sure.
And it wasn't like asked or necessary, but people were doing photography in there or more collage-y stuff. And I was always like, how can I work illustration into this?
Which also like makes total sense. If it's a totally open brief, you're going to gravitate towards like what it is that you like, even if it's not entirely conscious.
Yes. I think one of my final projects actually for my final year was I did these illustrated portraits of my friends again, before I had like ever used a drawing tablet or anything, I would make all of my illustrations with the pen tool in Illustrator.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I was deep in there. That's the only way I knew how to illustrate. And I was like, so I would make everything with the pen tool. I became like a pen tool extraordinaire. I could do anything with the pen tool.
Well, the number of people who enjoy using Bezier curves is so small. You could have totally cornered the market in that.
Yeah, maybe I was onto something. Yeah. But no, once I got that first drawing tablet, my life was changed. But my final project in university was I did these like digital portraits of my friends using like textures and the pen tool, and I loved that project, and it kind of was like a doorway to like I think what I'm doing now.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Also, like since we are talking about your friends and Aaron has already come up, you later on end up doing a project with Aaron called This Might Work, which is sort of a collaboration for good.
Yes.
Doing like illustration projects that fundraise.
Yeah. Yeah, this literally came out of, I think both of us were working design jobs. I was working at Cobot, my first job, and she was working at Berlin, which was this agency in Edmonton. And I think we
Confusing.
both... Yeah, I know.
Is there an agency called Edmonton in Berlin,
There
I wonder?
should be.
There should be.
Yeah.
Exchange program.
I don't know why it's called Berlin, actually. That's a good question. But anyways, we both loved illustration and were craving more of it in our lives. And we always wanted to do a project together. We wanted to like commit to something, but also have it be like this kind of playground for creativity. And so we landed on This Might Work because we, weren't sure if it was going to work.
Yeah.
And then literally. And also
Lean into the uncertainty.
Yeah, and also unsure. We didn't want to like create this huge thing that was like put a lot of pressure on us, and so we kind of created this to be like a playground for us to work together. And we also wanted to kind of contribute to things we cared about, and we loved risograph. We were both getting into risograph before I got to Portland. Shout out Outlet.
Oh, sure.
Oh my gosh. We can talk about that later.
Well, this is also like 2018, so that is like truly the very beginning of the risograph.
It was
like,
so
rise.
exciting. There wasn't even like a studio. I think a few designers I knew had their own risograph machines in Edmonton, but we were just ordering them from like another studio. I forget what the studio is, but we were so excited about that and then collaborating. And so we did like a lot of collaborations and markets, and it was really fun.
And like a really cool way to like merge doing good and doing illustration into one project.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great like mindset for students to think about, like, well, if I want to do this and I also want to do good for the world, there are ways that you can combine both of those things.
Totally. And like and some people I think see it as a small way, but you know, it is helping in a small way, but it's still using your skills for good. And I think, you know, anything counts, especially nowadays. It's like, you know, just do what you can.
It's
We're all doing what we can.
Truly, this might work, but just for like the world right now. So, you know, January 2017, you start your first internship at a place called Curio Studio, and they are like a branding and illustration agency.
Yes, I love them so much. I'm still such good friends with them. Actually, Erin also introduced me to Amanda, who runs Curio. So shout out Erin.
Amanda, like Erin is kind of your like entry, like truly.
Oh yeah, definitely. She's also my intro to like good food. I feel like I have so much to thank her for. She's gonna listen to this and love this. But so yeah, I had got an internship at Curio with Amanda, Rachel, and Graham, all amazing people. I think a big theme throughout all my life is just like latching on to these people that are willing to teach me and mentor me, and they've just like added so much to my life, and I feel so thankful to them. But Curio is this really cute, amazing little studio that does branding and illustration and kind of merges those worlds. And I had a really great internship with them, learned so much from them, still learning from them. And yeah, it was great.
I could also see how that would be a huge like unlocking moment too, of like you're interested in illustration and now you're in a place where that's literally the job. This is what we do here.
For sure. It was like super inspiring and unlocked something for sure. I didn't take an illustration course until my last year of university. There was just one course and I learned like the basics, and that like opened my eyes so much. I was still only using the pen tool. But I don't know how I didn't know what a tablet was at that point.
Were they trying to like usher you off onto something else in the illustration, or was it still just like truly theory based?
No, it was less theory based in that class actually. I feel like we were doing a lot of like not actual work, but some tools, but also theory based. A lot of the business behind illustration, like a lot of like contract information and budgeting, and which is very useful.
Important too,
very important. But I just wanted more of it. And I think because it was at the end of my degree, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want more of this. And so Curio was a great kind of intro to that. And then through Curio, I met Brian, who owned Cobot.
Yeah, because they like shared space.
Studio space. Yeah, they shared this like really beautiful studio space in the best area of Edmonton, which I stayed in the whole time. Also, West Edmonton Mall. It's what used to be the biggest mall in the world. I've heard nothing but good things. It's crazy. What is it? Like, what do they have that is really... What don't they have? That was my, like, when I lived in Hinton, Alberta, which was a 3-hour drive from Edmonton. I went to high school there. I used to drive to Edmonton to go to the mall with my mom and sisters, and they had like an ice rink and what was it called? Galaxyland, which was this like amusement park. What? And a movie theater and like food courts and of course like all the mall stuff. But like I feel like they had like a pirate ship. Okay. Yeah, it was crazy. So this is like mall plus theme park. Oh yeah, it was crazy. I don't think I realized that. They had a casino in there. Mr. Vegas man, you know, they had a casino. Hey, they're stealing our bit. Anyways, so that's just a shout out to West Edmonton Mall. But my school was nowhere near that, luckily, because that area, I'm like, you know, it's an area around a mall, so, you know, not awesome. Back to Cobot. So yeah, I met Brian, my first boss, through my internship at Curio. And I kind of like through Curio, I also dabbled in doing some work for Cobot, and Cobot was a digital design agency that mainly did like websites and branding as well.
Yeah. And they'd been around for a bit.
Yeah, and it was just 3 people. It was Brian Kulba, who was the boss, and then graphic designer, but also like creative director. Stefan, who was the like developer and coder, and then other Brian, who was our copywriter. And so it was just the 3 of them. And then I dabbled in doing some work for them when like Curio had some downtime. I just kind of jumped back and forth. And then at the end of my internship, like literally the day before my internship was supposed to end, Brian was like, hey, do you want to like stay here and be a designer at Cobot?
Wow.
And I was like, yes, of course. Like, say less.
Yeah. I mean, had you like had a plan before that moment?
Yes, I was actually, this is really funny.
Oh, wow.
I was actually supposed to go live with my sister in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Somehow a place more barren than Edmonton.
It doesn't sound like there's a lot going on.
Okay.
I mean, not to,
everyone in my
characterize
life,
by name.
Everyone in my life knows what I feel about Grand Prairie. I don't love Grand Prairie, but I do love my sister. And I was going to go make some money by being like a traffic girl, you know?
Like a traffic warden? Like
holds the sign for,
a crossing
for road
guard?
work.
What?
Okay. Hear me out, though.
Okay, please. Yeah, I gotta
poor.
know.
You know, you're poor.
Sure.
You're finishing university. You need money. So I was going to go do that for the summer because she was friends with this guy who does the roads in Grand Prairie. And so...
But like, what does that pay?
It pays a lot.
Why?
Apparently, it pays a lot. I have no idea. I don't know if it pays a lot. But, you know, it was just like I needed to make money. And then I was going to move to Australia in December. So I was going to do like after the summer even. I was going to do a quick like summer job to make some money. And then I was going to move to Australia, which is where my other sister lives and my dad and my other siblings. So that was the plan. So I wasn't going to be like a traffic girl for the rest of my life.
I mean, that's good.
No shade to traffic people.
I mean, you generally don't need an art degree to do that, but, you know,
No.
it does help.
You know, who knows what would have come out of that?
Yeah.
Maybe I would be designing, I don't know. Safety vests.
Yeah, you'd be spinning that traffic sign.
Yeah.
Woo, woo,
There'd be
woo.
some much better looking traffic signs out there, maybe.
Yeah, people are not paying any attention to them.
No,
though.
I mean, you know.
Wow, it's so pretty. Ah!
So yeah, I vividly remember Brian asking me and saying yes. And then I remember going for lunch with Erin and telling her, like, I'm staying here. And she was so excited. And
Wow.
yeah, it was great.
I mean, talk about like kind of the perfect situation where you're literally, I mean, in a lot of ways, everything in this story is like you're meeting the right people at the right time and essentially getting handed off.
Yes,
them.
literally. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Like
You take the baton of Mariah now.
Yes. Yeah, pass me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just a yes girl, you know, just saying yes to everything.
But like, it also makes a lot of sense for Cobot to be like, at that moment, it sounds like they're a very lean, you know, kind of like traditional web agency at that point where like, it really is just like, there is a title of web designer kind of place.
Yes.
And right at that moment, you start seeing a lot more illustration on the web and a lot more like other design elements that need production work.
Yeah. And Brian was, I think I've said this somewhere, but Brian was the first one who gave me like a drawing tablet as well, his old like bamboo drawing tablet. And I was like, oh my God. And, you know, that was when I started just like exploring everything with illustration. I was doing like, you know, those like Instagram challenges.
Oh, sure.
I did like a challenge for myself where I did a drawing every week because I was like, I can't do a drawing every day. You know, there's people doing drawings every day. I'm like, how do you do that?
I don't know.
And so I kind of picked like I was, you know, the steal like an artist kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
like I was kind of looking at other illustrators and just being like, oh, I want to try that. And so I'd pick something to draw and then try and replicate like the way they were drawing. And it ended up kind of creating this like mold of what kind of I am now, I guess. Just experimenting with what I liked and didn't like illustrating and tools and so.
But I think there is something that is so, especially for something like illustration, that is so useful about like trying to reverse engineer. How did they do that?
Yes.
And that's like such a traditional like drawing class exercise too.
Yeah.
But like that it is able to unlock like, oh, I can actually move. I can take that pen tool, putting you in the dustbin.
Yeah.
I have unlocked this whole other power right now.
Yeah, it was so fun. I like was so thankful. I remember he gave it to me and then I was like, do you like want this back? And he was like, just seeing how much I loved it. He's like, no, you keep it. You keep that. And he was, he's my, I think my biggest design like mentor. He just like supported me from the very beginning and was always like, oh, how can we like, Mariah wants to illustrate, like how can we work illustration into this website? And we like won some awards with illustration.
Yeah.
And it was such a perfect first job. I'm like so thankful to them. Yeah.
And you were there for a number of years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years, which is a pretty long time for like a first real job.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially one, again, that is like such a small firm.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's a huge thing. You also like, we were talking earlier, like it is a very, there's a lot of camaraderie. You're watching Star Trek over lunch breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. They instilled in me like this really important kind of like work-life balance that I think not every designer is like lucky enough to have in their first job. Like I think a lot of people get put into that kind of hustle like until you die.
Yeah. So some of us are still in it and can't escape. And please help. It was so refreshing, and it was kind of all I've ever known now. And so my base level of what's good is like so strong. Like they were like, okay, like we're all taking lunch at the same time. We're all going for a little walk. And then we're coming back and eating together and watching an episode of Star Trek. And it was just, a very wholesome environment to be a part of. Yeah, it's like such a good template to be starting off from.
Yes.
That being said, you still have a plan kind of in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And 2019 is when you sort of pulled the trigger on it.
Yes.
I was able to find your last day post.
Oh, did you?
Which I believe this is probably like an elementary school photo that they pulled.
With my little vampire cavities.
In front of the mysterious background that all these photos are taken from.
I kind of love them.
How did they do this? Why is it like a weird
like a
model?
Purple kind of textured. I don't know.
Like, I assume these still exist, but where are they?
We should pull them out again.
Yeah, please. If you know where all the weird purple drop cloths that used to be behind school photos went, let me know, because I would love all of them. Yeah,
I feel like that would be a great, like, when all these like students do their like final portraits at PSU.
Oh, yes.
They should pull that back.
Can I tell you, we've tried.
Okay.
We cannot replicate the look. I don't know what it is, if it's like airbrushing on fabric or something.
Yeah. But someone was doing something right.
Yeah. I have to assume it's just like a fabric that's not made anymore or something.
Maybe it's meant to stay back there. I don't know.
Maybe. But that's how they announced that you are leaving. You are going to travel Europe and then live in Australia.
Yes.
So like what was that decision like? And how long are you in Europe before you're actually like settled down? Because that's like a whole extra leg to this global journey.
Yeah. So I feel like probably like a year before I quit Cobot, I was getting kind of an itch to go back to Australia. I'm really close with my sister who lives there. And so I just had this like kind of itch to move on a little bit. Cobot was fantastic and I learned so much there, but you always hit like a level where you're like, okay, I think I've learned everything I'm going to learn here and I love these people so much, but I think I just like felt this itch to move on. And so I actually let them know. I told them like 5 months in advance because I was
That's so generous, honestly.
I was so nervous about telling them I was leaving because I loved them so much. And I cried and they were like kind of laughing at me because they're like, Mariah, you're telling us like 5 months in advance. But I wanted them to have time to, it's a small studio. So they, finding someone else to come in who like fit the vibe and fit the position. I wanted them to have time to do that. And they wanted me to be part of the interviews and like, suss out.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it was really good. And I think I left them on like such good terms and we're still such good friends. And the Europe thing, me and my older sister just kind of were both craving like a little adventure. And so I saved up and we went for 4 months.
4 months?
Yeah, we backpacked through Europe for 4 months. Both of our I'd been to Europe before on a design trip actually, but other than that, both of our first times kind of backpacking and it was crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and so inspiring and amazing. I spent all my money. Actually,
you should have taken that traffic guard.
Yes.
We got to figure out what that job is called because I feel like we say a different thing.
I know it's not traffic girl. Sounds weird too.
No, that does sound like a movie that I would see at a Blockbuster and be like,
traffic girl.
I feel like that should maybe be behind the beaded curtain.
Yes, but I spent all my money. Actually, borrowed money from my sister, so I was kind of in debt even
to the person you're traveling
to
with?
her. She was older. She had more money. She's always been better at saving.
Well.
So yeah, then our plan was to move back to Australia, move to Melbourne, where my dad is, and both get jobs and, just see where life takes us. And so we did that. And then COVID happened.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. So like through this journey, you are going from a very cold place to a very nice, warm place.
Yeah.
Melbourne. But COVID, sort of a problem. And I would say Australia really went hard into the lockdown.
Oh my gosh, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And to preface that, I feel like I moved to Melbourne with like such intense high spirits of like what I was going to do. Like Melbourne is this wonderful like design, arts, culture, food, music.
Oh yeah.
Like beautiful city. And I lived in Australia as a child as well, but in like a smaller town. And so I was excited to move to Melbourne as an adult and experience it. And Brian, my boss, kind of put in this like slightly delusional confidence into me that I was going to crush it there. And he was like, "Yeah, you're so good. Like you're gonna get a job right away." He's like, "Everyone would be lucky to have you." And looking back, I'm thankful that he instilled that in me, but also like it was wrong. Like he was wrong. I applied to like every single design studio in Melbourne and didn't hear like anything back.
Ooh.
I did do this thing where at the end of my email I was like, if you're not hiring, like would you mind meeting up for a coffee and just looking over my portfolio and kind of telling me kind of why you didn't hire me or like what I could do better or like,
a very reasonable request.
Yeah. And so some studios definitely were like, yeah, like come on in. And they weren't like, you're bad, but they they were more like, we're not hiring, they skirted around it. They were like, we're not hiring right now. We'll reach out in the future if we are.
We're bad. It's not you
it's
that's
not
bad.
You. Yeah.
It's more us, We need to work on ourselves and our badness.
Yes. And, I don't think I was a bad designer by any means. I think I just was a designer in a smaller city and had less experience than probably some people there. And it actually worked out kind of, emails have trickled in from those design studios throughout the years about wanting to collaborate on illustrations.
Hey!
And it kind of came back. And I think putting in that effort actually really helped me a lot.
Well, that is so true. Like, oftentimes when you actually do have a one-on-one connection with somebody, they do remember you and they will circle back.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it seems like it,
in the moment, it seemed harsh, but
5 years from now, I'm not going to ever hear from you again. What do you mean?
Yeah. So that was interesting and like kind of a hit to the confidence a little bit. But, I was still happy to be there and happy to be exploring new things. And then one of the studios I reached out to actually was like, because I think I've always kind of struggled with like, what am I? Am I a designer? Am I an illustrator? Like, what should I gear my portfolio towards?
Yeah.
And a lot of these studios actually were like, we see that you have some web design stuff and some illustration stuff and some branding stuff. And they're like, what do you want to do? And kind of like figuring that out was such a journey. And then I think a lot of them saw that I kind of leaned more towards illustration and they pointed me towards Jackie Winter, which is this illustration agency there. They're like, you should try like getting an agent. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, I'll just do that.
What
of course.
What is this world? Of course I'm down for that.
Yeah.
And then, my portfolio wasn't quite there yet either. Like it was I was in this like limbo of not quite there.
But I think that is also you were mentioning the small town, but I think it's the small studio thing too of like when you're in something with 4 or 5 people, everybody's doing everything.
Yes.
You can't specialize.
Yes.
Whereas probably a lot of the places you're talking to are bigger firms that are hyper specialized and,
for sure.
They're trying to figure out, well, what bucket does a jack of all trades fit into? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like that generalist specialist argument. And I'm really thankful that I kind of did everything at Cobot and like I was part of the process from beginning to end. I was part of the research and part of the interviews with the people and part of, the follow-up about the design. And I don't think that that's kind of everyone's experience. I feel like sometimes it's like an assembly line where you're in a little bubble of design and then you pass it on, you never see it again.
Oh, I would say that's primarily my experience.
Yeah.
The idea is there that you will maybe be training your replacement, but you won't meet them and maybe they'll only work there for like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah. So it was really, I think I really enjoyed being part of everything. But yeah, so I was in Melbourne and then I ended up getting a job at a brewery as like an in-house designer.
Yes, Moondog Brewing. Yeah, which was very exciting. I was just mainly very excited to have a job. Yeah. And I believe you get this job February of 2020, which is really great timing.
Yes.
Although, gotta say, could have been worse.
Honestly, could have been worse.
1 month later would have been a lot harder.
I could have not gotten a job at all. And, this brewery I feel like I went into the office a handful of times. But I did it was like an hour and a half commute from my house.
Oh, really?
2 trains and a bus.
I didn't realize Melbourne was that kind of
big.
Huge city.
It's big, and the transit takes a while. I mean, I was really enjoying it because I kind of love sitting on a train, and
same here.
It felt exciting to be commuting somewhere. So I was excited, and maybe that would have changed if I was working there for years, and I was like, oh no, 2.5 hours, but. Maybe it was an hour and a half. Either way, it was over an hour.
It's a long commute either way.
Yeah, but I still found it exciting, and it was this new place. Very the energy there was really exciting. I like beer. I liked beer more then. Lauren, my boss, was I'm actually still very good friends with her. She was an amazing designer, illustrator who made this brand by herself pretty much. And so, being an in-house designer is such it's a different kind of mindset. You're kind of taking a brand, and then you're like, how do I make this work in all these different applications and make it interesting? And
did they have an established kind of illustration style and everything for the Moondog vibe?
Yeah, kind of. There was some room for play, and I feel like Lauren as well as Brian kind of saw that I loved illustration and was trying to find ways to insert that. And actually, when I quit there, she was like, I knew you were gonna move on. She knew. She knew from the instant the Slack message, hey, can we have a chat? She's like, I knew.
Well, yeah, that's a breakup message if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
And have I ever?
Yeah.
But also it's a weird situation to be in where it's I don't know if I actually want to do this. This feels right now.
Yes, that was exactly it.
And
I feel so lucky to have had that job during COVID. I was I had a stable income. I was working from home, obviously.
Yeah.
My sister is a nurse, so she and we were living together, just us two. So she was in the thick of it. I felt so bad for her. I was just sitting at home, drawing my beer cans with her dog while she was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And so I felt so bad for her.
But it's like I said, it's proper hardcore lockdown in Australia and New Zealand.
Yes, our dad lived an hour away, and we didn't see him for 6 months.
That's crazy.
The roads were cut off. You had to wear a mask outside. It was an hour and a half limit to leaving the house per person. One person from the household could go grocery shopping. It was just really crazy.
Outback Steakhouse makes it seem like no rules down there, just right. But it sounds like a lot of rules, and also rules. Maybe also not so right at that time.
No.
Feeling bad.
Yeah, feeling bad. So, it was a bit of a dark time, but also weirdly a time where I had time.
Yeah.
To I literally had.
What's that like?
I had all the time. So I was doing a lot of illustration, personal kind of illustration work, and building my portfolio kind of without knowing it. I was still exploring styles and what I liked and didn't like.
Yeah. Is some of that just necessity of working with these labels and stuff like that, or?
Some of that, yeah, but most of it just I just wanted to explore more about illustration. So I kind of just created these kind of ground rules for myself and was doing these Instagram challenges or just exploring. Yeah.
Pushing yourself that little bit further.
Yeah.
Now, I read in an interview that the boldest thing you ever did is probably moving to Portland for my current job at Oddfellows. I had never lived in the States or been to Portland before and didn't know anybody. So I was just hoping for the best.
Yes.
So what makes you ultimately decide you want to move to Portland in December of 2020? Also, not an awesome time.
I know. I feel like it was kind of difficult, actually, because I'd been following Oddfellows for a while, the company I work for now, a long time. Actually, Rachel at Curio Studio introduced me to Oddfellows.
Oh, sure. That makes a ton of sense.
So she's an amazing illustrator. She'd been following Oddfellows for a while, showed me them. I loved their work. I never thought I'd get into the motion world ever. Honestly, animation is a mystery to me. But
I know Flash. That's kind of like animation.
I don't know Flash. I don't know anything.
No, I don't really remember Flash anymore, if I'm being honest. I tried. Recently.
Those times when you're sitting at home and you're like, what am I doing with my life? And I think it was COVID, peak COVID, I was literally in bed on my laptop and I was like looking at Instagram on my phone or whatever and saw that Oddfellows had posted a story. I think they were looking for freelance and full-time illustrators and designers and remote, not remote, kind of looking for everything.
Wow. So true, like the most blanket almost this ask could be.
Yeah. They kind of just put like stories out there being like looking for talent kind of thing. And, I feel like back to the delusional thing. I think you got to be a little bit delusional sometimes. And I think I was in that mindset. I was like, oh, like I wasn't thinking I was going to move. I was thinking, maybe I could freelance and do some more illustration work with these guys and that'll be so cool. And so I sent my portfolio to them like on a whim, not expecting in like any way anything back. Like it was one of those things where you're like, sure, I'll just send it out.
Well, yeah, and you've also been trained through this hiring process that like most of these companies do not get back to you.
And so I literally did that and then I heard back and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I got an email and they wanted to talk to me. Still not thinking that they're going to ask me to move to Portland, like maybe thinking they wanted some freelance. And then they kind of like just blurted out. They're like, oh, yeah. And like, would you be interested in moving to Portland and full time and getting a visa? And I'm like, whoa, it was crazy. I was like, let me get back to you.
That's like 8 things. Yeah. I'm going to need to, sort of divide that up mentally first.
And, like this company I've been looking up to for a long time. And it was just crazy. And I was not ready to leave Australia. It was like Victoria, the province that I was in Australia. State province, I don't know. One of those.
Australian listeners write in.
Yeah. The provinces are in Canada, right? I don't know.
I think so, but it's also similar?
It's states. I think it's states.
Something.
Anyways, Victoria would go through these kind of like highs and lows of we'd get to 0 COVID cases and then they'd open up everything. I went to a music festival like in the thick of COVID because Victoria had no cases and then they'd get cases and shut down everything. Like, it was so
productive exercises all around.
It was so intense. And so, Australia kind of felt like we were opening up again and I was getting excited again to kind of get into the Melbourne design world and I wasn't ready to leave. And when I got this offer, I like really I called Brian, my old boss, like immediately. And he told me, he was like, I think you should do it. And he was so like confident and sure about it. He's like, yeah, I think you should do it. And I was like, all right. Then I kind of talked to my dad and my sister and they were also like, sad about it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you had been in a weird way working many years up until this point to get to Australia.
Yeah.
And now here it is like, basically a year in.
And, it felt too soon. But I don't know. I listened to everybody and everybody was kind of telling me to give it a chance. And then, if it doesn't work out, you can always move back. That's like, it feels simple, but it's true. It's what I tell everybody. I've talked to some students and they're like, oh, I got this offer like here, like, should I do it? I'm like, yeah, why not try it out? If you can, if you have the means to do it, like, what's the worst that can happen?
100%. And it's like, I think just doing this job in general is risk taking.
Yeah.
And so if you are trying to be too safe with your career choices, you're going to just end up unhappy.
Yeah.
There's always a way, even if it's a weird lateral move, to get out of a situation where, maybe you don't like what you're doing, but you'll learn something from it.
Yeah. And, I didn't not like what I was doing at the brewery, but I did feel like I wish I was being pushed more. And I think I just craved a bit more. And so, I took the job and moved in March of 2021. Never been to Portland. Didn't know anybody other than like my coworkers who I met online.
You were saying your first time in America was in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So you were very poorly set up for what the Portland experience was going to be like.
Poorly set up or maybe the opposite.
Well,
because, my expectations were Vegas and then Portland. I mean, you can Google Portland and, Portland has its own, people think of Portland and you think of a certain vibe. And so.
Yeah, what was the picture that you had in your head of like what Portland was at that time?
I think when you Google Portland,
so the Travel Portland website and Portlandia.
Breweries, food carts, Pacific Northwest, Energy, Patagonia.
Sure, we've got all those.
Yeah, and also part of me was like, Portland is kind of close to Vancouver Island, and I love Vancouver Island. I hope that I end up back there one day. I feel like it's like the most beautiful place on earth in terms of like nature and just energy. And so I was like, okay, Pacific Northwest energy. I like kind of love it. And so I knew that. So coming here, I felt like a little bit nostalgic almost. Big trees and kind of rainy winter.
Yeah.
I knew I never wanted to do it Edmonton winter again. So I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I would think after for all the bad parts of being on Australia, after you see what that is like, you know, just sort of like, oh yeah, it can be not icy.
Yeah. Life
there cannot be ice.
Not icy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I feel so lucky to have like landed at Oddfellows. Like the culture there is so amazing, and my coworkers were so amazing. Are so amazing. I moved into a house with a coworker, Caitlin, who's a producer at Oddfellows still. And we just hit it off instantly. Like she's the most like caring, energetic person who's like a tour guide around Portland. Like I think she picked me up from the airport and we immediately went to like Laurelhurst Park. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it all felt like very romantic. And I think every time I've moved somewhere, it's always like a few months of adjustment.
Yeah.
Or longer. Like I feel like it takes a long time to like settle in somewhere. And also, like inherent sadness comes with moving and leaving family. And so it was big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a bigger one than most too.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't really get to have the experience in Australia that you even wanted or expected.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're moving here kind of just small amount of luggage and
two suitcases.
2 suitcases.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
But that's wild. So you've been here now since then, since March of 21.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of things have you been doing at Oddfellows?
Yeah. So Oddfellows does like a bunch of stuff. They're a really great company, and we do like a lot of illustration systems, a lot of like narrative animations, branding, kind of a little bit of everything. I mean, their main strength is like motion design and animation. And so, I've worked on like a variety of projects there and like really grown there. I started off as a designer and then got a promotion last year to senior designer.
Hey.
Yeah. And I think a big part of why I love Oddfellows is they put like a lot of effort into the type of people they're hiring. I feel like we all just get along like so well.
Yeah.
Like the people that I work with are my best friends. And I don't know if that's rare, but some people I talk to are like, you hang out with your coworkers like outside of work? I'm like, yeah, of course. And I feel like I was already into risograph printing, and then I've been following Outlet for a long time. And I was so excited. Actually, I feel like it actually helped me with my confidence in moving here, was that I could finally go there.
Yeah.
I remember my first time printing there. I was like so excited to meet Kate, and just like all of that is like such that environment just like brings me so much happiness. I've always kind of craved community, and always, I think moving around, I've always like tried to build community. I feel like it's like part of like what helps me settle in somewhere.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense too, coming from like Alberta, like coming from Cobot. Yeah. Like these are very communal environments where you're growing together.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's weird that I leave these places because I'm like, sorry, everyone. Like, love you. Bye. Yeah. But I feel like I crave it so much, but I also crave these like new experiences. And so trying to balance that, and moving here, I was like immediately like, I need to find my favorite places, and then I want to become friends with them. And so Outlet was that place. Like, I feel like I'm just going to go here until they like me.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Kate is she can make that happen for you. Yeah.
Yes. And, same with like, I think this is like a good, I guess, intro into like some personal projects I've done. Like, I feel like I go to these restaurants or cafes in town and like, like a healthy amount of stalking. Like, like you go somewhere, you love it so much. And so you're like, I need to become friends with these people. And then some of those relationships have like led to like amazing collaborations. And that just feels like so special to me. And so I feel like I've always been an advocate for doing personal projects outside of work. Because, like work, Oddfellows is fantastic. And I feel like I've loved like a lot of the projects I work on there. But, sometimes you're craving something different, or you want to kind of flex your own style.
And that's the thing, is like it is such a good thing to have something of your own still in your portfolio. But also like this is such a scrappy place. Like, yes. These people are like your neighbors or down the street from you. So, it's not like they're, up on a hill.
Yeah, for sure.
Inaccessible.
Yeah.
Unless they are. In which case, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like those interactions and those relationships have been like some of the most valuable kind of parts of my community here. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other kind of when, on the subject of design mistakes, are there any other like things that you can think of from throughout your career that, maybe were a little bit of a stumble?
Design mistakes. I mean, I feel like I'm like a socially anxious person, like a little bit. And so
I don't know anything about that.
I mean, I like ebb and flow through periods of time where I'm feeling more anxious. One thing that I would say is that, back to Aaron, I feel like we're both kind of the same energy. And we would always be like, okay, we want to go to this design event, but we're like terrified of everyone there. And so we'd go to these events together, and we'd be like, okay, we're going to go. We're going to talk to one person. And so,
achievable goals.
Yeah, we'd like stand in the corner awkwardly with like a drink or something. And then, sometimes we talk to someone, sometimes we wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I feel like showing face at these places is like maybe just like, it's so important. Like, I feel like if you want to build community, but you're not quite there yet, I feel like going to these events, even just showing up, is like so important.
Yeah. Well, it's how you find your people.
Yeah.
Too,
and your confidence will build. Like I know it's intimidating, and I still find it intimidating. I have to like pump myself up sometimes, You're like, I'm going to go to this event and I'm going to talk to one person. And so I don't know. I feel like back to the mistakes thing. I don't know. I can't think of any mistakes. I mean, maybe not going to some of these things because I got too scared.
Yeah.
But that's not a mistake either. Like go with your energy, like trust your gut, but also become uncomfortable.
Yes, I think that is 100% true. And also like to that end, I mean, you recently had a piece in a show at the Sometimes Gallery here in Portland, The Dog Show, curated by Amy Rowan. And I believe your piece is actually still available to purchase on their website.
Lovely.
Sometimesgallery.com.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like to that point, like the whole gallery world is also so interesting to me. I mean, back to like a specialized, generalized argument, I feel like I'm way too interested in everything to ever like settle into one thing.
Yeah.
And so I think back to like building community, I've kind of forced myself into all these different areas. Like I'm into typography. And so I met some people through like the type conference here. And then I'm into risograph. And so I'm into illustration. And I feel like I've kind of molded this like strange general community for myself that like dabbles in everything. And I feel like the gallery world is another one where I'm like, this world is like so interesting to me, and like fine art and what is that? And I've done some painting recently, and it's just like, I feel like it's endless. And I don't know, I'm kind of an advocate for being like a beginner at things rather than an expert. Like I love that like uncomfortable feeling of trying something new and then maybe not being the best at it, but like it giving you like, that excitement and energy. And
well, I so agree, because it is that thing of, again, like back to risk taking.
Yeah.
Like if you are not doing something where you are uncomfortable, you're going to get complacent.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I think the trap that a lot of, especially younger illustrators, not casting any aspersions at my students, sometimes fall into is like, I need to develop a style. I need to have a thing that I do.
Which I get that feeling.
Yeah.
Because you do see these illustrators that have like, built this style that they're so good at and it's so popular. Speaking of trends.
Yeah.
You can create this thing that people react to and love. And I feel like it's like an addicting. You're like, wow, I need to make more of that. And I fall into that too. Like sometimes I'll make something and, get so many likes on Instagram. And so I'm like,
what's
okay,
that like
I'm going to make more of this. And then I do, and then I get bored of it. And I'm like, who cares? I'm going to try something new because I'm bored.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like I'm always advocating for that. Like just like picking up a new tool or putting yourself into like a new community. And yeah.
And you're making yourself more versatile. I mean, like we named corporate Memphis earlier, and like, I feel like there were a lot of illustrators in the 20-teens who were just like leaning as far into that as they could. And
for sure.
What are they doing now? Who knows?
And like Oddfellows has been an interesting place to be at with that too, because I think they hired me because I had a mix of kind of graphic design and illustration.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's hard to find, like someone who can kind of jump back and forth. But sometimes they'll get something like a brief or a pitch or something, and they'll be like, okay, Mariah, like we want you to like Mariah-fy this. like take this clean corporate Memphis sometimes, or like this clean, beautiful illustration and like add some like whimsiness to it, or like walk to it, like make it imperfect. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
So that's been an interesting thing too. Like it's almost like they're like reverting, like AI and technology is kind of, and styles have created this kind of like box of what these big tech companies want. And then it's like, oh no, we're going back. We need to be like more human and add some personality to it. And so, yeah, that's been fun.
100%.
Yeah.
Where can people find more about your work and see some of the work if
More
they
about my work?
want to?
My Instagram.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Which is Mariah_BN. And my website, which is mariahbn.com. And that's probably the best places right now. Sometimes I've been doing more local gallery shows. I would love to do more local shows. I'm still like such an amateur at painting, but I love any kind of opportunity to show my work and like peer pressure me into painting. Maybe peer pressure is not the right word.
Well, I will say it sounds like it works for you,
But
because
I love
a lot of it,
brief.
a lot of what you've done has kind of been peer pressure.
Yeah, a little bit. A healthy amount. I love a brief, so I'm like, and like a deadline. Like I'm like, sometimes I struggle with just like, painting for painting's sake. And so when I have like I'm like, okay, you need to do this. And I do it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You just need 100 alarm clocks going
Oh
off
God,
every hour.
no.
It's all deadlines everywhere.
Yeah.
No, that does sound like my nightmare. Well, thank you so much for being here,
Yeah,
Mariah.
thank you so much for having me.
And also, hey, one more thank you out there to all of you. That's right, you, the listener, for doing the thing that you're doing right now, which is listening. If this is your first time here, please be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you found the show, or visit dididothat.design to find out a place where you can. If you got a moment, please also rate, review, and share the show. This has been Did I Do That? I'm Sean Schumacher, and as we always say at the close of every episode,
What do I say?
that's what we always say. Okay, bye.
I also like Star Trek. Actually, at my first job, we would watch an episode at lunchtime every day. It was pretty special.
That's a pretty good lunchtime activity.
Yeah.
Talk about bonding.
Yeah, it was like a forced, like, calm break. It was great.
Would you all have the viewing in a weird little room around a very awkward shaped table?
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. We'd all be sitting with our lunches around this table, watching on the big screen.
Yeah.
Star Trek. It was pretty cute.
You never see them eat their lunches in that room, but I assume they do it.
Yeah.
Because why would you go down to 10 forward?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
Yeah.